and good day everyone. Today we're going to discuss Region 3 or Central Luzon and their literary works. But before that, please like and share this video. First, let's talk about Central Luzon. Central Luzon, also known as Region 3, is a vital region in the Philippines playing a crucial role in the country's economy and agriculture. Located in the northwestern part of Luzon Island, it boasts a diverse landscape of fertile plains, rolling hills, and mountain range. Region 3 is comprised of 7 provinces: Aurora, Bataan, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Tarlac, and Zambales. Its strategic location, rich resources, and fertile lands have facilitated the development of various industries, infrastructure, and educational institutions. So the region is often called the rice granary of the Philippines because it produces a huge amount of rice, which contributes significantly to the nation's rice supply beyond agriculture. Central Luzon is also part of the various industries contributing to its economic strength and establishing itself as a major engine growth of the Philippines. Okay, now let's move on to the literary works of Central Luzon. Central Luzon literature includes poetry, short stories, novels, and folklore, even incorporating local dialects and reflecting the region's unique experiences. Themes commonly explored involve daily life, social issues, cultural traditions, and the impact of historical events. Number one is Lorante at Laura. It's a Filipino epic poem written by Francisco Balagtas, considered one of the most significant works in the Philippine literature. It is a tale of love, betrayal, and redemption set in a fictionalized version of the Philippines called Albania. The poem is also significant for its use of the Tagalog language in its contribution to the development of the Philippines' national identity. It is a testament to the power of literature to inspire, educate, and unite people. The second is The Legend of Alitaptap. It's a Filipino folk tale that tells the story of a young woman named Alitaptap who was known for her kindness and generosity. She lived in a village where people were struggling with a severe drought. The legend of Alitaptap is a reminder that even in the darkness of times, there is always a glimmer of hope, a beacon of light that can guide us through. It is a story that teaches us about the importance of kindness, compassion, and the beauty that exists in the natural world. So moving on to the next, Isang Daang Tula para kay Stella by Fidel N. R. Sarmiento. This popular novel tells a heartfelt story about a shy man named Fidel who expresses his love for a cool girl named Stella through a haunted poem. It explores themes of love, loss, and the complexities of relationship. The title Isang Daang Tula para kay Stella effectively conveys the collection purpose, themes, and the narrator's depth connection to Stella. And last is the story of Swan, the Good Guesser. Isa kapampangang folktale about Swan, a clever young man known for his guessing abilities. When he challenged by a boastful man named Mayabong, Swan initially feels overwhelmed but uses his intelligence and a bit of luck to win, and eventually he married the king's daughter. The story celebrates the intelligence, resourcefulness, and the role of chance of success.
Hello, good day everyone. Before I start discussing my topic, allow me first to introduce myself. My name is Johannes Jr. A. Hortizano. So in my part, I will be discussing one literary work or one short story, and I will be also discussing the elements of literature in the story. So the title of the story, it's One Manalaksan. This is a Filipino folktale from Central Luzon, specifically Arayat Pampanga, as told by Anisio Pascual. So here's the story. So once upon a time, in the lush forests of Arayat, there's a man, live a poor woodcutter named Juan. Juan, he was known for his kindness and honesty. However, his life was filled with hardship. And then one day, while gathering firewood, Juan heard cries for help. So what Juan did after he heard someone, cries for help, he rushed. He rushed towards that sound, and he found Pedro. which is Pedro is the son of a wealthy datu. And then this Pedro is choking on a piece of meat. So what Juan did, he quickly dislodged the meat from Pedro's throat, and he saved Pedro's life. So uh, Pedro's Pedro's father is very grateful for Juan's heroic act, for for saving his beloved son. So what the Dato did to Juan, he offered him a generous reward, but an old woman observing the scene. And this old woman, it's like she is like a witch, or in our language, she is like a mangkukulam. So she advised one to ask, for something more valuable, and that valuable thing is a magical glass that Pedro kept hidden. This story is somehow like there's quite similarities between the movie Aladdin. So Juan, trusting the old woman's wisdom, so he requested for the glass. And on the other hand, Pedro was, surprised, but he was unable to refuse. So he gave Juan the glass. And this glass, it was just an ordinary looking glass, but it held a secret power. And Juan discovered that, by pushing a stick through a small hole in the glass, he could summon giants who would grant his wishes. So Juan was very happy for this newfound power to help his starving mother. So he wished for food, and the giants brought a feast. However, Juan's mother was very overwhelmed by her hunger, ate too much, and died. So Juan was so sad, was devastated. But despite this tragedy, Juan continued to use the glass for good. He heard about a sick Datu, and he wished for his recovery. And the giants healed the Datu, who in gratitude. So that Datu offered Juan his daughter's hand in marriage. So they get married. However, Pedro started to get envious and jealous of Juan's newfound wealth and power. So he plotted against him. He stole Juan's wife and the magical glass, and Juan, heartbroken and desperate, sought for help from a magical cat he had befriended earlier. So the cat led him to a hidden cave where Pedro was hiding. So, with the help of the cat, Juan outsmarted Pedro and retrieved his wife and the glass. And then after that, he then used his magical power to defeat Pedro and his father, reclaiming his wife and becoming a king. So, after he defeat, Pedro and the father is the Datu. So after he defeat them, Juan is the one who become the king. So basically, Juan ruled wisely and justly, using his magical powers to help his people, and then he became known as Juan Manalaksan. So Juan Manalaksan means Juan who has everything. So now let's discuss also the elements of literature based from the story. So we have 9 here. First, the setting. Second, the characters, plot, theme, symbolism, folklore, point of view, style, and tone. So let's first go to the setting. So the setting, the story is set in the lush forests of Arayat, Pampanga, emphasizing the region's natural beauty and its connection to the supernatural. So second one is the characters. So the characters there. So Juan, he is the protagonist, embodies kindness, resourcefulness, and a strong sense of justice. while on the other hand, Pedro, the antagonists, represents greed and envy. So the magical cat and the giants serve as supernatural elements that contribute to the story's fantastical nature. So the third one is the plot. So the plot follows a classic hero's journey with one facing trials and overcoming obstacles to achieve his destiny. So the story is structured around a series of events, each building upon the previous one, creating a sense of momentum and suspense. So the fourth one is the theme. So the story highlights themes of kindness, resourcefulness, justice, and the triumph of good or over evil. It also explores the dangers of greed and the importance of using power responsibly. So the other elements of literature based from the story is the symbolism. So the symbolism there is the magical glass that symbolizes power, wealth, and the potential for good and evil. And also, Juan's journey from a poor woodcutter to a king symbolizes social mobility and the power of perseverance. And another elements of literature based from the story is the folklore. So, Juan Malaksan is a classic example of Filipino folklore, drawing upon traditional beliefs and cultural values. It reflects the region's oral traditions and its strong connection to the supernatural. And the other elements of literature from the story of Juan Malaksan is a point of view. So the story is told from a third person omniscient point of view. So this allows the reader to access the thoughts and feelings of all the characters, including Juan, Pedro, and the old women, and the magical cat also. So this perspective enhances the storytelling by providing insights into the motivation and complexities of each character. And another element of literature based from the story is the style. So the story employs a simple and straightforward style typical of folk tales. The language is clear and concise, focusing on conveying the narrative and its moral lesson. This simple style makes the story accessible to audience of all ages and backgrounds, and it's easy to understand. So the last elements of literature based from the story is the tone. So Juan Manlaksan is optimistic and hopeful. The story emphasizes the power of kindness, resourcefulness, and justice, ultimately celebrating the triumph of good over evil. And despite the hardship Juan faces, he perseveres and uses his newfound power to help others, ultimately achieving happiness and becoming a wise and just ruler. And overall, Juan Manlaksan, um, this story is very captivating story that blends elements of fantasy, adventure, and moral lessons, and making it like a timeless tale that continue to resonate with audiences in Central Luzon and beyond. So that would be all. That would be all in my part. I hope that you learned something from my discussion. Thank you